Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And this is a Patreon related video. So I have a Patreon page, and for people who are paid friends, Patreons or subscribers at the Patreon channel, I have a project wherein if a paid subscriber sends to me their favorite films list, I will go ahead and not just read the comment or read the list, but also react to it in a video format, which is what I've been doing. I've been doing this for I started this a few months ago, and there has been a large gap and a delay in my own response time. So I apologize. I'm trying to make up for it right now, but I want to just apologize again very deeply for my the lateness in my response. Many things just it's maybe I don't want to go into too much detail now, but just a number of things, both within my control and beyond my control, have occurred. So, but I do want to just vocalize here just how much these lists mean to me. And I've learned so much, and I've been inspired so much, and in the sense of, for instance, what I've discussed so far, and what I continue to hope to do for all the lists that I've received. So, if you've sent to me your list, but you're wondering or you're frustrated with me saying, "Oh, Daisuke, why haven't you responded to me?" So I want to say I apologize. I am going through them in terms of all the lists that I have received. They have to be through the Patreon page. So, and there's actually specific video under which you can post it as a comment. I know some people have also sent to me via direct message on Patreon, etc., and comments. But that's the way. If you're still interested to send your favorite films list to me, please do so in the Patreon page, or reach out to me via the Patreon page. And it has to be this is for the benefit of those who are paid Patreon members or paid Patreon subscribers. So there is, I'm very grateful for your kindness and support. And so let me try to express to you my gratitude, and I'll try to do so in terms of my responses to your lists, so as well as great learning experiences for me, and also to learn more from you and about you and who you are. So, and I'm doing this in order of my receipt of the list. So this now brings me to Kyle Johnson. So, hell, Kyle Johnson, thank you so much. Thank you for your list. And you say, here we go. Donnie Darko, The Swimmer, okay. Onibaba, The Last Picture Show, Audition, Aguirre, The Wrath of God, The Wicker Man, Cure, American Psycho, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So, where to begin with this? So, The Swimmer, I want to say thank you so much for mentioning The Swimmer. This is also a really fascinating, unique perspective of a film, is it not? So, that's great that you have that there. That has many levels, many layers to it. It's quite significant in that way. So, and then I also want to say Donnie Darko. So I might have mentioned it because it was listed in some other lists. So I came to it kind of later in my own life in terms of the lifespan of the release history of Donnie Darko. But you also have it atop your list as well, and I think it was atop someone else's list, I think, for really excellent reasons. So well done for including it there. I'm just jump around here. American Psycho 2. This was also one that I came fairly later to. And that's actually the same for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I didn't see these when they were initially released. I wish I had, but I didn't. But I came to them a little bit later. They have a kind of cultural punch to them, respectively, which I think is indicative of their longevity. American Psycho, that has a sting to it, and it's just you can't let loose of that sting from the film. I completely understand. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that has a different type of sort of resonance to it, very emotional. Oh, well done for including those. I love this. It's great. So I'm sorry. Let me just continue on here. Kyle Johnson. So where was I? Aguirre, the Wrath of God. So I was fortunate to have maybe encountered the works of Werner Herzog fairly early in my, in like late teens, still in high school, into college, that type of thing. So I was very fortunate. I had VHS, so I was able to watch some of these films. And I must say that they were always so perplexing. They still are. Aguirre is one of those films where, gosh, it's hard to say what my favorite film of Werner Herzog. It could be Aguirre, Wrath of God. It is a mind bender of a film. It is There are moments that are just so twisted. There are moments that are just WTF moments, and you think, my goodness, what am I watching? Was this really filmed? I mean, that kind of impact, and it was just the sense of the madness made flesh, or madness made flesh in the form of the film itself, in terms of what the story is, and also the behind the scenes history of the film. So that is a really powerful and unforgettable choice, and I'm so glad you have it mentioned here. So well done for that. Cure. I want to say this is the Kiyoshi Kurosawa film, the Japanese film from the 90s, Cure. So I have spoken about this. If my assumption is correct, if it's this film, I have spoken about this film a number of times. So, and I'm with you here. That is a great film, very effective, chiller, very mysterious. It doesn't quite yield its answers readily, which I think is one of the great things about it. You have to watch again. It's based a lot on interpretation. Um, uh, and there's a kind of creepy, no, not kind of, there's a definite creepiness about it. And I love how some of the cuts, the edits are just so abrupt, almost like cuts, physical cuts of in flesh, embodied in the way that certain scenes are edited very abruptly. The subliminal cut, and just the slow creep, whether it's the motion of liquid or water or flame or a little thing that just, as you say, little things can turn into these huge, big things in the context of Cure. So, well done for that. Onibaba, Onibaba. I'm a huge fan. Onibaba. This is also in terms of the Japanese horror or folklore setting, and also great Criterion release too. So yeah, the Last Picture Show. Also, the Last Picture Show. Speaking of Criterion, Bogdanovich. This is, and I was able to speak a little bit about this film in the context of the Criterion recent releases discussions that I have on the YouTube channel, because the Last Picture Show was re-released quite recently, I think, by Criterion. So it was a great opportunity to revisit that film. That is another great classic film. I mean, I didn't realize how. I mean, there's a lot of pain in it. I didn't realize how painful it actually was. I mean, I did see it a number of times, but watching it again, maybe more recently, maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I'm feeling the space of years and regret that I think is also part of that. Understandably, maybe some of the characters are younger than I, but also some of the characters are maybe closer in age to me now than they were when I first saw the film. So in that respect, I think there's a sense of melancholy that becomes even more pronounced as I watch it, in recent days. And let's see, where was I here? I don't want to get Audition. So this is the Miike film, right? Audition. Kitty, kitty, kitty. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So I won't do any more audition related impressions. I'm sure there can be a lot to be said about that. It's how should I put it? This is the film that I think for a lot of people introduced us to the world of Miike, and we never looked back. And it also is. I mean, it is one of the great Japanese films of sort of the modern era. I think. I mean, I think it really should be. It's intense. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of scenes that's so gross and so but that doesn't make me deny its power as a work of great cinema. And so um, I think it should be lauded in the same sort of circles as classic Japanese cinema from the 1950s and 60s. But in any event, and it also has this great effect. I mean, there's this way in which it had this effect not just in Japan but also internationally. And for good reason, because it's a really effective film, and I love its structure too. It's almost like two different films in one. So, and Mike is a master of that in terms of mixing styles in a way that's just like this huge, like soup of a film, in a manner of speaking. But in any event, that's a great choice. Let's see. There was one of The Wicker Man. The Wicker Man. What version of The Wicker Man is this? Is this the early 1970s version, or is this the version with Nicolas Cage? I've seen both. I really like both versions, each in their own ways. By the way, let's in terms of the Nicolas Cage version, I love this. It has a kind of camp quality. How to get burned? How to get burned? How to get burned? So there's that quality. They're in my eyes. Yeah, sorry. And um, so I enjoy the remake. I really enjoy the 1970s version, the original version, The Wicker Man. There is a moment. I'll try to be as vague as possible. There is a moment where one of the characters cries out the name of Jesus Christ. And the way that this character cries out the name, there is a kind of inflection in the voice. There is almost a curdling of the vocal cords in that way in which the performance is had. That I think is just it's really effective, and it happens in a kind of critical scene in the film. So, but in any event, that's just one example. And it's wonderfully mysterious, and there's this sense of almost ebullient joy, and also chaos, and it's mixed, and it's like the same thing, which is a really brilliant feat in terms of expressions of cinema. So, and many people who are much more expert in cinema than I am have said it much better. But that's a great choice, Kyle. That's a really great choice. So, oh gosh, this is wonderful. And I think, yes, Kyle, this is great. So thank you so much, Kyle Johnson, for this wonderful list. Um, I'm very impressed, and thank you so much. As I mentioned before to others, I'll mention to you, Kyle Johnson, as well. I'm very honored that you'd be willing to share with me your list. I mean, among other things, I'm learning a little bit more about you, and I think that's one of the great things about cinema for me is it's a great way to get to know someone. It really is a great way to get to know someone. So there's a kind of connection that can be had. It's like just share lists and you feel like you've known the other person for years. It's that kind of thing. So I really appreciate this, Kyle Johnson, very much. So thank you so much. And again, I am so sorry for my delay in making this response video to you, Kyle Johnson. I was very terrible about that. I apologize. So I hope you can forgive me. In any event, to Kyle Johnson and to my friends at Patreon and YouTube and elsewhere, thank you so much for your continued support and guidance and friendship and advice and teaching me and inspiring me about cinema and your love for cinema. I look forward to continuing on with these lists, and other videos. But in the meantime, of course, please, my warmest regards and words of thanks to you, and also specifically to Kyle Johnson here. So thank you so much for your great list, Kyle. I hope you're well. And so let me end it here. And so I will see you hopefully again very soon. But until then, my dear friends, please continue to be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great, great, great movies, such as the lists of many Patreon friends here, such as Kyle Johnson's list, such as other people's lists. And maybe your own as well. And if you're interested in sharing with me your list, again, I have this open for Patreon subscribers. So please, you can go to the Patreon page and check out other people's lists. And if you want to join in, and if you want me to provide a video response, please become a paid member of Patreon, and you can submit your list to me in the Patreon page. So in any event, thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you to all of you. And until the next video, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers. Thank you, Kyle. See you. Bye-bye.